Wildfires, A Green Criminological Approach by Nathaniel Haga. Wildfires happen each and every year in many different places. The causes of wildfires vary depending on the location and the conditions. Pests or disease leave thick stands of dead trees, which are poor habitat for iconic species such as elk, lynx, deer, and other wildlife that depend on vibrant forest ecosystems. The dead trees affect watersheds as well, as there are no longer leaves or needles to hold snow to build a winter snowpack. In addition, these dead forests are much more prone to catastrophic fires. Prolonged drought in the western U.S. contributed to the extensive fire season of 1988, when over 2 million hectares of forest burned in Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho, representing the most extensive fire season since 1910. Feedbacks from fire to vegetation and climate add additional complexity to ecosystem dynamics. Increases in human-caused fires, for example, can trigger changes in the structure and composition of vegetation, which may in turn alter carbon storage and land surface characteristics that are known to affect climate. Alongside drought, the deforestation of areas for housing has increased the risk for wildfires, with wood being used as the main construction material. Lightning also plays a role in this phenomenon, as houses and commercial buildings serve as perfect matchboxes. It has been widely proclaimed that the increasing severity of wildfires is a result of excessive biomass accumulations in at least some ecosystems. Logging, livestock grazing, and a century of fire suppression efforts have allowed biomass fuels to accumulate to unnatural levels. It is from here one can see that humans have played a huge role in putting areas in the risk of wildfires through so-called natural efforts. Evidence abounds for a strong positive correlation between climate change and the number and severity of wildfires. It would make sense that the increase of warmer temperatures in general throughout the world would serve to help wildfires become more and more prevalent, especially in developed nations. This unintentional harm may come in the form of worry about the possibility of food loss due to lack of refrigeration among those who are already food insecure, or stressed about being unable to access needed oxygen for machines powered by electricity to assist breathing among those with respiratory diseases. The above quote was taken from an article in which California's utilities were shut off in an effort to curb the wildfires there. While many were thinking it was a good choice, it put many residents unnecessarily in harm's way by depriving them of their ability to basic needs, such as food and its refrigeration. During large fires, substantial quantities of particulates and volatile compounds are transported via the atmosphere and may produce large fluxes of nutrients in aquatic ecosystems. But water chemistry data are often lacking during the early stages of many fires that have been studied. This is especially true of large wildfires and stems largely because such fires are unplanned and logistically difficult to study. We see here is what many humans fail to consider: how a wildfire impacts them beyond the fire. The introduction of foreign chemicals into our water supply endangers any and all humans, as teratogens and carcinogens have been found to be quite dangerous in the long run, with various types of cancers and birth defects associated with them. Ozone production from wildfires is a complex process involving numerous variables, including fire emissions, chemical and photochemical reactions, aerosol effects on chemistry and radiation, and local and downwind meteorological patterns. Another important factor known as ozone is often downplayed in its severity, especially by those opposed to the concept of climate change. The fact still remains that the production of it occurs via wildfires and is toxic to humans. Fire chemicals applied to wildland ecosystems may be washed away through overland flow during intense storms or leached into the soil profile and carried through subsurface drainage channels to streams or other water bodies. Many fire retardants that have been used to quell any chance of wildfires occurring in specific areas haven't been properly researched to their fullest, as they're not exactly safe for fish, herbivores, or humans. The impact of the soil is often forgotten, as it technically has no rights, according to those in authority. A healthy forest that does not suffer unnatural buildups of surface and ladder fuels will not be at an increased risk for unnaturally severe fire and when suppression fails. Also, not fighting fire when it doesn't need to be fought spares the forest and watershed from the onslaught of chemical retardant, bulldozed fire lanes, and other tactics associated with fire suppression. It is our imperative to not mess with nature, as it has existed for a much longer time than humans have. It seems common sense, however, that we should adapt to nature rather than have it adapt to us, as we humans seem only to destroy it. Capitalism as a whole has proven to be the main reason why wildfires are rampant, as profit always comes before safety. Humans have been interjecting themselves in areas that didn't need to be disturbed and in essence caused these fires with their poor decisions. Crimes by the state are being perpetuated by not taking action into lessening wildfire risk. Failure to intervene in a conducive way will certainly harm humans and nature in the long term. The gentrification of natural wildlife areas to suit potential homeowners, mall space, and leisure businesses inherently increases the risk that fires will occur and spread with ease. In order to combat the alarming rate at which wildfires occur, there needs to be a few plans set in place. Corporations in the livestock and housing sectors need to have regulations placed on them to limit the amount of land they use and the resources in which they profit from. Construction as a whole should stop in residential areas, as enough houses to house the world population have already been built. Existing construction needs to replace flammable materials with inflammable materials such as metal and brick. A shift into a less meat-based diet would help, as well as less land would be used for livestock, and it would also help to decrease methane emissions, which in turn would help slow climate change.